I'm an astronautical engineer. I'm probably the only astronautical engineer in the Academy of Motion Pictures, but I love shorts. So I left investment banking and started a company just doing shorts because I really loved them. It was kind of a crazy idea. I just think they're very cool. I've never made features. I never tried, never want to. I just produce shorts. It's a great art form, and I'm very pleased to be part of it.
If you like filling out an Oscar contest ballot, you know how important it is to have seen all the nominated films in a given category. For a long time, though, actually getting to see the nominated animated, documentary, and live-action shorts was nearly impossible, even if you were an Academy member. But not now. For the past 20 years, Shorts International has been compiling the nominated shorts into programs that screen at theaters across the U.S. and around the globe. After starting in just a few markets, the Oscar Shorts program now screens in over 600 theaters, all pretty much during the first few weeks between the nominations and the Oscar presentation. This program is annually one of the highest-grossing limited-release programs at the North America box office. So, Arthouse operators are looking forward to the February 14th launch with anticipation. On today's episode, we talk with Carter Pilcher from Shorts International and take a look behind the curtain to see how the program is put together and also discuss the impact a nomination can have on the life of an up-and-coming filmmaker. Join us now on Inside the Arthouse.
Hi, my name is Greg Lumley.
And I'm Raphael Sparge.
And welcome to another episode of Inside the Arthouse. Today, our guest is Carter Pilcher, who's coming to us from Shorts International. Thank you for joining us, Carter.
Thank you for having me, Greg and Rafa. It's great to be here.
Carter, this program, I love going to see these films when they're assembled together in theaters. And I have had friends. I have at least 3 that I can think of who've won. Their shorts have won. And it has been career changing, to say the least. I mean, it has sort of set them apart from every other person. I wonder what your experience has been with filmmakers who've participated in this in terms of their, what's happened to them as a result of sort of being a part of this and then winning the Oscar.
Well, we've had, this is our 20th year of releasing the Oscar-nominated shorts. We have had everybody that you can imagine who's participated. Last year was a big director named Wes Anderson, who has made lots and lots of feature films, very well known, very distinct style, unique guy. And we've had lots of years where just regular people have won, people who've made their first. We've had a few where they've made their first short. I think the category is really fun because it's the only place in filmmaking. It's really the best place in filmmaking for competition. If you're a young filmmaker, you can probably scrape together 50 to 100,000 to get your budget to work. And if you're Wes Anderson, you can probably get Netflix to give you
a little bit more than
that. But
I saw that short. That was incredible.
But in a short period of time, it's really about the strength of the story and maybe the inventiveness of the filming. Wes was amazing. His film was amazing. But it's not so difficult for a brand new filmmaker to take on a very famous old school filmmaker and do something just about as good. So it's dangerous sometimes for people with a history, career in the industry, but it's also much more exciting, and you get to see way more fresh ideas and shocking things that are happening. That people, if you want to kill somebody, you just blow their head off in a short film.
Because you can.
Because you can. And you don't, and the audience goes, ah! But it's good. It's fun. So I love this category probably that's my favorite thing. And in animations, Disney spends millions on short animations, but the animators, young animators, student animators, do it themselves, and they've got a beautiful competitive film. Mm-hmm. And so, and it works that same way for national films from different countries. So this year, And I would say if you're thinking about diversity or breaking in new voices, filmmakers coming from overseas, shorts are the best place.
Yeah,
We have a great film this year called Anuja that Netflix has now launched everywhere. I think you could probably turn on Netflix and it's one of the top promoted films.
No, don't.
Do not.
Don't. Go see it in a movie.
Because
No.
it's not as good as in a theater. But the amazing thing is that this is a film set in India. It's an Indian story. And it actually has more resonance than some of the Indian films that have been nominated for feature films or as best international films. It's really a great category for that kind of diverse filmmaking. Interesting stories.
I'm curious. Can you talk a little bit about the history of the category? Like, when did the Academy start recognizing shorts? And we now have three categories where they all started at the same time, or
well, the first category, the first time they recognized a short, I believe, was in 1932.
Wow.
The first films that nobody really understood what the difference between a short film and a feature film was. So they classified them by number of reels. Right. So a short film was 2 reels. Two reelers. And anything more than 2 reels was a longer film. Mm-hmm. It didn't really come up until they came up with the feature. And so short live action films came in 1932. Animation was about a year or two later, and first doc was in the late 30s, early 40s.
Wow. Okay, so it's been almost
a long time.
Within the first 10 years of the Academy Awards being established,
absolutely,
the Academy was recognizing shorts.
And recognizing they've changed the names, they've changed the criteria slightly as technology has changed. But the basic idea that short films are an integral part of filmmaking and an essential part is from the earliest days of filmmaking and award giving.
Well, we know that shorts were an essential part of exhibition, because when you would go to see, the feature, and often it was a double feature, but there would also be shorts, certainly animated, certainly live action, and there would be a newsreel, which is somewhat akin. I think the short documentaries are not exactly newsreels, but something akin to something. So it has its roots, from the earliest days of exhibition.
It's definitely a very big part of the cinematic experience and the cinema experience. I know my mom grew up in Illinois. It was very hot in Illinois, and she told us stories. The only place with air conditioning was a movie theater. So she and all her friends, they'd go at 9:00 in the morning and come home at dinner time.
Yeah, exactly.
And eat popcorn for lunch. It was a big day. And so that kind of culture is where short films really came up and became a big part of what everyone expected. They, of course, love features, but if you're spending the whole afternoon or the whole day in the cinema, you want to see all kinds of different presentations, theatrical presentations. So it was, and shorts, I think, are coming, when we started releasing the Oscar shorts, you couldn't see shorts anywhere. So they went through this period from the 70s onwards where shorts just disappeared. And they were, as you know, they were overtaken by this beautiful, lovely, and heavily invested in thing called advertisements. And advertisements were the new shorts. And so they filled the screens with advertisements and nobody showed any short films at all. When we started doing this, the Academy showed them in a special protected screenings, and you had to have an Academy badge and you had to sign in. And so nobody ever saw the film. And Ray McKinnon tells a story about, Ray McKinnon won an Oscar for best live action short back in the 90s, I believe. And he said, we were so unknown he said it was really fun. The 5 of us who were nominated all were great buddies because nobody cared about us. No one had seen our film. And he said the entire thing that we did after I won was we all 5 went back to my car, opened up the trunk and had a beer. He said that was it. And he said nobody knew who we were. Nobody knew that I won. And he said it's totally changed now because shorts have come back, I think, partly because we've made them available. And each step has really, they're now out on all kinds of other media, YouTube and TV. So there you can see, and you can see them in theaters also. But, we've developed this really fabulous audience that wants to see the Oscar nominated shorts in theaters, and they go
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was talking to Greg about this, and he was explaining to me that, because I had no idea, that it must be a rather complex sort of arrangement with all the different distributors and all the different filmmakers to kind of corral them into this. I wonder what that was like for you, at least initially, and how you managed that.
How does that change?
Basis.
Yeah, I mean, please.
It's a challenge every year, and there's a lot of corralling, and I think that the best part of it has been that the bedrock of the publicity that each film gets is not because they hire a very expensive publicist. The very expensive publicists try to push their film to Academy members who already have watched their film and have their view. But regular people, the films are shown in every town in America. Mm-hmm. And what we discovered, because you don't really think about it, is that every town that has one theater that shows the Oscar shorts writes a review. It goes into the newspaper, and everybody in my hometown in Terre Haute, Indiana, reads the newspaper, reads all about the shorts, and they'd never do that if they were not in theaters. Yeah. And it's huge because, of course, if you live in Terre Haute, Indiana, town of 60,000 people, and there's a movie showing in your town, you want to know what it is. You drive past it, you go home, you open the paper and say, what are these Oscar shorts? And we get so many people. It's not Variety and Deadline and the New York Times that people in Terre Haute, Indiana look at. And for sure in Indianapolis, they don't. And in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and in everywhere in Florida, all of them look at their local newspapers. And so the really fun thing is that as we have spread over the last 20 years into more and more local theaters, people are thrilled to hear about it, and they know about it, and they go every year, and it's become a really great contribution, we think, to the whole Oscar season.
Greg, I mean, I'm sure you see a lot of, I know there are big audiences in LA, and I'm in New York, and there's, wonderful responsiveness in New York as well. But I mean, what, Greg?
Every year when you look at the highest grossing films that played at the IFC Center or here in LA at the New Art, you're going to see Oscar shorts right at the top of the list. There's just no question about it. So it's pretty amazing. Yeah. Now, Carter, I know there have been years when the package was not complete. Maybe early on, Disney was less inclined sometimes to have their shorts included and so on and so forth. But, this year we've got all 15, in each category you have all 5 films, 15 films total.
Yeah.
When was the last time that you had to, miss something?
There are different issues that come up, and we're still negotiating on some of the elements of the film. So I don't want to be too misspeak.
So it may not be complete this year.
Yeah. But I think.
Does the negotiation start when the short list comes out? Because at least now you've got 15.
Well, but a lot of yes and no. Okay. So everyone, this is the deal. Nobody wants to jinx their chance. So we start explaining it and telling them about it, but nobody reveals their hand until they find out if they're nominated or not.
Right, and then it's hard to, And
then you have 3 days or 4 days or 5 days, and it's kind of crazy. it is a very big project. And I think every year filmmakers go from complaining about all little aspects of the release to realizing, oh my gosh, this is a theatrical release across the country, 600 cinemas, means every town in America has been there. Everybody has seen or knows somebody that has gone to see your film. All your friends from high school and wherever else go. And for filmmakers who are sending their films over from overseas, they don't realize either the depth of reach that this has, which is really kind of
the interesting thing is, I mean, I've made as a director, narrative shorts, documentary shorts, narrative shorts. I've been in as an actor. I've been in shorts, and they're wonderful to do. I think that the name shorts is actually sort of a misnomer because it's just as much work sometimes to make a short as it is a long. But it is, the fact is that it's very hard once you have your short, other than what you might essentially send to an individual who could help get you a job or open another door. It's very hard to find some sort of market for them. I mean, in terms of sort of actually A, having a theatrical, or B, even just sort of monetizing them at all. So this, I mean, as far as I know, I mean, it is not only is it sort of the top of the pile, but it is sort of the most remarkable way to kind of actually sort of bring people in the door to actually embrace shorts, because it's I mean, is that your experience as well?
I think it's the best way to see it. Seeing them, I will say this absolutely unequivocally, and this is why we do it. Seeing these films on a big screen is so fun. They're great movies. They don't get a big screen. And then you see it on a big screen and you go, oh my gosh, because these guys made it for a big screen. They didn't make it for your phone or for your TV. They made it for a great big cinematic experience. And a lot of the films are gorgeous, amazing. If you look even at this year's films, there's one called The Last Ranger. They're all very good films this year, but there's one called The Last Ranger set in a wildlife park in South Africa.
This is one of the live action films, right?
Yes, it's one of the live action nominees. It is gorgeous. It's just, you just watch it on a big screen and you go, wow, it's got rhinoceroses and giraffe and big Africa plains and wow. And it's as good. It's as good as Out of Africa in terms of the wildlife and the beauty and just the feeling that you're there.
Right.
So it is very, very important to be able to see it on a big screen. It adds. It's what the filmmaker intended. When you see a little rhinoceros on your phone, yeah, it's kind of cute, right? Yeah. But you don't get. It doesn't take you and doesn't hit your chest, and you don't feel like this is something.
No, look, I mean, outside of this package, your main opportunity to see shorts in a theatrical environment is basically at film festivals. And film festival programmers do a terrific job either compiling shorts into thematic programs of one sort or another, which is also a really interesting way to program shorts, or pairing them with a feature. Because when you're not in that environment where it's like, we need 12 shows a day, so we can't give up 5 minutes for a short film. But there you can, you have some more flexibility.
Well, you do. And you also have the other thing that happens is that when you go to a festival, and because you see so many shorts at short film festivals especially, but any festival that's showing lots of shorts, some are amazing and some are not so amazing, and the quality is very huge discrepancies in quality.
It's all over the map. Yeah. Right.
This is the creme de la creme.
And every one of these films, you watch it and you go, oh my gosh, that was fabulous.
Yeah.
And they're every single one is a beautiful movie, and And audiences normally have a big trouble trying to figure out which one they like best because they're all really good and they're unique and they're different. The other thing that is really fun about these films, these 15 films, is if you go watch one presentation, you have done something that almost nobody else outside of Hollywood people has done. And that is you have watched all the films nominated in that category. Right. And you feel like I'm really educated and I can make a choice.
I can make an educated decision now when I fill out my ballot.
Exactly. Yeah. So we started the Oscar Shorts, and we realized the first couple of years we marketed it, it was all about the Oscar betting, right? That you win your Oscar pool.
Yeah.
And it actually worked. People really, at that point, nobody had, people were all never seen the shorts, really did like the idea of seeing the shorts. So the first few years, it was like lots of guys who bet on pool who went. Now it's kind of everybody, but it was a thing that really got it going.
Carter, as a filmmaker, I mean, just do the 101 for me in terms of, a filmmaker finishes a movie and then, obviously at that point, then you have to sort of, you have a series of choices, which is you submit to film festivals, right. And you hopefully get programmed somewhere and maybe you get a laurel or an award. They also then alternately submit to the Academy, or is it an either or? And then what's that process? How does that, walk me through kind of what that
right? How does a film get qualified for consideration? And then, then we'll go to the next step.
So the fun thing is that the Academy shorts aren't seen in theaters. The feature films get qualified by being released in the United States, in Los Angeles and New York. Shorts can't, and it's not really fair to them. Well, most theaters won't. Greg it's a big help for that.
Yeah, I qualify a lot of shorts. I mean, exactly. There are some other ones, but anyway, yeah.
But you qualified my friend's short who won an Oscar. So as a matter of fact, and he called me
and he said he was going to thank me from the stage, and he didn't.
But that is only part of the process. You can do that. You can, but it isn't simple. It's difficult to get a theatrical release. And it's a bit of a way it's not a big release generally.
No.
Right?
No, but as I understand it, I mean, there's basically two ways to become qualified, right? There are a handful of festivals where either if you're a prize winner at certain festivals, you become.
So there are some festivals that the Academy has accredited. So they accredit the festival and the prize. It takes 5 or 7 years, I think, of giving this prize, and the Academy looks at it and sees what films have been awarded, and then the festival applies, and the Academy says, yes, Annecy, your top prize, the Cristal, the short animation that wins the Cristal is Academy qualified.
Got it.
And can then submit to the Academy. Don't have to, but it can. It's qualified.
Right.
And that's probably 50 to 100 festivals, actually, that have prizes that are
considered qualifying prizes.
Qualified prizes. They're all over the world. And it's an attempt to really open up the category to films from everywhere. So and then the second is you can release it in the U.S. in a qualifying theater for a 1-week run.
Right. Once a day for 7 consecutive days.
Yes. And so some people do that.
Right.
A smaller number. But it's so it creates a category where the people who do it mostly the way Greg explained it through the theater are normally people who have been around Hollywood, who make movies, who understand the process. But the theatrical route is national filmmakers. A young filmmaker in India isn't going to say, "Ooh, ring Greg Lemley up and say, hey, can I release my film?"
Yes, they will.
Well, maybe they will.
Yes,
once they see this,
yes,
my
they
God. You're not going to be able to hide anywhere.
No. So once you have a pool of qualified films.
Right.
Who does the nominating? Because, directors nominate directors, actors nominate the actors. Who does the nominating in these three categories?
Well, there are three branches in the Academy that handle nominations for these categories.
Okay.
There's a short film branch, and it's just short filmmakers and directors, writers, and producers, mostly of short films. I'm in
And
that
that's
branch.
just for the live action shorts then?
That's just live action now.
Got it. Okay, so there's a shorts.
We used to be in the feature with the animations, but now the animations are separate. So then the animation branch handles the short animations, and the documentary.
So they do both. So the animation branch does both the feature animated
and
nomination and the short. Okay.
And the other branch, the documentary branch, does the feature documentary nominations and the short documentary nominations.
Right.
So,
now, do they normally have a separate committee that, gets to the short list or something like that? Or is that handled by anybody in the branch could participate?
Anybody who has to watch, you have to watch, they assign you X number of films. You have, your voting doesn't unlock unless you've watched X number of films in the category, and then you can vote. And that's the first round. Then each category has 15, kind of
shortlisted
finalists, shortlisted finalists, and then there are 5 nominees. And so you can come in kind of at any of those stages and watch. Some people can't keep up with the number at the beginning, so they come in at the 15 and watch those, and then vote on the 5. But you can come in at any level. The Academy, sometimes anybody. Some years you may be busier. Some years you're less busy. So you can participate more. It's great. It's
a terrific process, and it starts early because I know that I believe the submissions are done
October.
at the end of September. So basically, October you're putting stuff together and then taking the time to watch everything. The short list in December, et cetera, et cetera.
And I will just tell you, one of the things that is great about the Academy is that we now have worked with all 3 branches for a long time, more than 10 years. And every single person who's involved as a member of the Academy takes it very seriously. They, it's not for fun. They don't mind the work. They love seeing new films. They really are considering what the advantages, disadvantages of different pieces of work. So it's a very respectful place, and it's a lot of fun to be involved with people who care about the actual artistry of each piece and the artists who are behind it. It's a really, really lovely group. You
really feel, you get that sense of legacy, and you get that sense of how we're all sort of part of this larger thing, and that we're all carrying the torch for the art of filmmaking, and how it then, and then going back to what I started with, which is just that when you get one of these nominations or awards, it's such a door opener. It really does make such a difference. And my friends have gone on to wonderful things. You must get deluged with a lot of films. There must be just a giant amount to start with.
Well, I think the Academy tries to select the numbers down, but they're probably between 150 and 200 short live action films every year, probably 180 to 100 animations every year. And I don't know the first round of docs, but probably 100 short docs. So there are a lot.
So if that's
of
broken
films
down into 3, you're still looking at a lot of stuff to just to get to that short list. It's a big commitment, but you're right.
Commitment.
The Academy members that commit to doing this are incredible. They're great. They definitely put in the effort.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is a lot.
It's a lot.
And Carter, what is your part? Obviously, are you an Academy member? Are you watching the films from a voting standpoint? Are you really sort of kind of coordination and making sure everything is in the right place? What's your part?
Well, I'm in my real life, I'm a producer. We make ShortsTV just makes shorts, and we have run a series of TV networks. ShortsTV is available in the Netherlands, on DirecTV in the US, in India, and it's a TV network that just shows short movies. And that's our main business, producing and releasing them on ShortsTV. We have apps and all that kind of thing. And so we started doing this back in 2006 with Magnolia Pictures, just as a way to get the films released. And they did it for a couple of years. Mark Cuban, who owned Magnolia at the time, called and said he's tired of losing money. He can't subsidize the Academy of Motion Pictures any longer. And did we want to take it over? So we did, and we changed the cost structure a little bit so that we're a little company, so we could survive it. And it's been a fun project ever since.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Academy of Motion Pictures. I was in the short film and feature animation branch, and now I make live action films primarily. And so I'm in the short film branch, which is live action filmmakers. Chris Tashima is the governor. And I've been a member probably since 2007, 2008. So a long time. But it's a great, I love being there. It's guys who are all love shorts. It's a good group of people.
Talk a little bit about the grossing history. I know when it started, it may have been, a bit of a novelty and just something that's playing New York and LA because who else would care or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're talking now about 600 theaters playing the program.
Yeah, more. And
is that just in the U.S. or is it also presented internationally?
We present it internationally, but we don't make very much money. The challenge is a lot of countries require they have these, I don't know what the right name for them is, but I call them censorship.
I hope it's not tariffs.
No.
That's the word of the day.
But it's the other side of that. It's basically a censorship board. So you have
you have to submit. Yeah.
So in France and all these places, you have to send it to the board, and of course the Marvel movie gets run right through, and the Oscar shorts wait 2 months while they find somebody that can watch them. So normally those releases, this is a product, and you can imagine the Oscar shorts would not be very interesting in July.
Right. Yes, that's true.
It's got the competition fact of it is what
got a definite smell factor on it.
And the problem, so overseas it's more of you have to go through all this certification process. So we really have trouble getting releases.
So then in the U.S.,
what's
the grossing trajectory?
Grossing in the U.S. Last year we grossed 3.1 million, a little over.
Wow. Okay.
Since pandemic, we did all the virtual screening. We didn't. We lost a bit of money those years, couple years. But before the pandemic, we were grossing probably 3.6. So it's tapered off a little bit. But it's definitdefinitely come back from 2021. Right. 21 was terrible.
21
was
really
fun.
tough. But it's come back. And I know that last year when I was looking at it and my numbers, to me, it felt almost where so much of the Arthouse audience has not come back to pre-pandemic levels, that Oscar Shorts almost felt like it was back to where it used to be.
I think it's very close.
Yeah.
And I think that's because people love this program.
Yeah.
And they look out for it. They're ready for it. My folks are elderly, and they're very, it's very fun to go to see their friends who have all gone to see the Oscar Shorts, not because of me. It's just one of the things that if you're a retiree, you kind of have on your list of, I need to do. I need to get ready for the Oscars, get ready for the Super Bowl, and
often at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
The program started with the animated and live action, but
yes.
I'm a big fan of the documentaries. I was pushing for a lot of years for you guys to add that one. In fact, the first movie that I saw in a movie theater after the reopening in April of 2021 was the Doc Shorts program that year.
Yeah. Great.
So can we talk about the docs a little bit?
Yes, of course. We can. This year, what would you like to know? I can tell you a little bit about the films.
Sure. I mean, I'd love to hear about the films and, and how many theaters are more theaters starting to conclude the docs as part of the program. It's a longer program, although this year it's not exceedingly long. There have been years where we had to present it in 2 different, packages. It's shorter than The Brutalist, I'll say that much.
It's a high bar, though, Greg Lively.
Oh, God, I apologize. I have to apologize to Brady Corbet now.
It's a great... Brutalist is a great movie, but when you come to the intermission, I watched it at home, and I got to the intermission, it was like, oh, thank you. Somebody realizes this is a bit of work. This year, I think, well, there's some very moving films. This is a very big. So there's 2 happy films and 3 very serious movies. One is called I Am Ready, Warden, is the story of a man on death row. And it's a very deep story. He is he's murdered someone, and the question is, will he actually be executed or not? And should he have been executed? And it's a lot of interviewing, and that you see both him and the son of the guy he murdered and his son. It's a very intimate, surprising, moving film. Another film that I thought was quite interesting is called Death by Numbers. It's one of the school shootings, and it is by one of the girls who was shot but not killed in a school shooting. And it's a very, very gripping and shocking movie. And then there's one called Incident. This is kind of the group of 3 that are very, the docs often are quite good at making you really rethink everything you thought about something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Incident is one of those films because it's just body cameras, just an incident where a black guy who had a gun but a proper permit was murdered, and it's by the police, and it just shows there's nothing else except body cams, car cams, and kind of some of the cams in the area. And it's very, very moving. But for me, it certainly makes you rethink the relationship between, this is in Chicago, and the police and citizens there. And then there are 2 very happy films. There's one called Instruments of a Beating Heart, fabulous, lovely, moving story about a little girl in Japan who is in the orchestra for a school concert. And then one called The Only Girl in the Orchestra, which is about a woman who is a very talented musician, and the story of her position in the orchestra and her instrument. They're 2 very lovely films. So when you watch all 5, it's a real roller coaster of emotions. There's the horror of imagining you're in a classroom and your friends are being shot all around you, a horror of being on a street and shot, or even
being on death row.
Death row, and what you think about at that point, and then being in music and some fabulous relief. So I really think, I think the docs have been on a journey. This year is a more difficult journey, films, but for a while they were too difficult to watch. I thought there were several years in the mid 2000s where I struggled to make it through some of the short docs.
Why is that?
Well, there were 40 minutes of a woman talking about her cancer journey and dying. right? And you finish that film and you just need a day to get your mind back. And there were several of those. And there's one where they, that I'll never forget, where they were slaughtering cattle. And in Mexico, and they showed the cows' faces before they were slaughtered.
Yeah.
And just the face. And you realize these are dear, wonderful animals. I'll never have a hamburger again, ever. Really.
Yeah.
So.
No, but the form is really, has evolved. I mean, it's, people are experimenting with it.
Yes.
And you're seeing different producers. I mean, with the New York Times, OpDocs coming in and some other things and really looking at the form differently. I'm thinking like of, the film about Chris Bowers. Overture. Was it called Overture, I think? Or Concerto?
Yes, Concerto.
Concerto. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, a documentary to be certain, but, with narrative technique.
Yeah, amazing. That was an amazing film.
Yeah.
That really was. That was it was a beautiful film. I mean, the interesting thing about when you describe all 5 of these movies kind of all together, it breaks my heart to think that any one of them wouldn't get the award. And I think that's another sort of appealing factor of sort of going to see them all together, right? Because everyone's going to have a favorite, but by the time they get there, they're top of the top, the most sort of interesting, compelling stories of the year, and certainly well told. And it's terrible to have to choose one and then go, I'll go see the winner, because all 5 of those, as you described,
it's not the winner. The Oscar goes to.
Yeah.
Right. It's in this case, you really get to feast in the nomination, and that's the wonderful thing about this program.
It is really a great thing, and especially each of the stories. In each category, there is always, but the docs, of course, are the most kind of deep. But even if you look at animations this year, have several stories that are more than just happy stories.
Yeah.
And the live action, of course, are always the stories that are social commentaries or commentaries on our life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is a great program. And the other thing that is really fantastic, and part of the reason that it does well is actually, this is really 3 movies. So people who like the Oscar shorts go see live action and documentaries or live action and animation. So they see more than one program almost always.
Yeah, we need a good hashtag. So, just like you challenged yourself to see Barbie and Oppenheimer in the same day, now you got to find a theater where you spend the whole day there, you see all 3 programs in one day.
Yes, exactly.
But you don't have to, of course. You can come back and see them separately.
When I've gone to see them, I mean, I haven't gone to see all 3 programs, so I'm going to think about that hashtag. But
that would be good.
If you as an artist or as a filmmaker or as someone who's just sort of trying to look for inspiration, every time I've walked into one of these programs, I'm always sort of left just sort of with my mind blown a bit, and because structurally it's so hard to tell something with less, right? So by the time it's actually sort of distilled down to what it is, it's impactful in a way that sort of, particularly when it works, can blow your mind. And so if you're looking for inspiration, I have found going to these programs is just an amazing way to be able to kind of actually sort of open doors in your head and go, oh, wow, I hadn't even thought about that. I mean, have you found that to be the case for just in terms of inspiration?
I think shorts are amazing. And, because you're looking at every movie is a journey and they're interesting, but often a short is much more to the point or to the technique or to the thing they're trying to get you to notice. And I think as a filmmaker, you should watch shorts. I think if you want to make features, you should watch a lot of shorts.
Yeah.
You'll just get more ideas of what filmmakers are struggling with. And a lot of them you'll think, oh, of course I could do that conversation better, but isn't that interesting the way they shot that? And
Yes.
you can do that and walk away and say, I didn't really like the short that much, but I definitely will always try that. I want to try that thing that he did. He was very clever. And you really have, and in a feature, there's such a big investment. If it's,
Right.
you can't just take part of it and you have to think about the whole movie. And a lot of times you don't watch the movie because it's an investment and you don't want to make it. But shorts, is just 20 minutes, 10 minutes, right? You can just watch it. And
you can watch it through and see.
And you just come out with it like, wow, okay, that was kind of interesting.
That was interesting. Yeah. I just watched David Fincher's short, You Don't Know Jack, or what is the sort of the slightly animated one that he did in 2012.
It was really.
And again, someone who's at the height of their powers, still, going back and making a short. It's very exciting to see.
Well, I think, that's what we always. He did it for a commercial something. It was called. I can't remember what it was called, but it's great. It's definitely something about Jack, but and I think he made it for a commercial something, but he didn't submit it. But it's really fun. These guys who are doing more and more submitting films to compete.
What did Jack do? That's what it's called.
What did Jack do? Yes.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the trailer for the program, just so we give people a sense of the diversity of styles and stories that one gets to see in Oscar shorts.
Ready when you are. Camera's ready and sound's ready.
Hi, little friends. Are you still there?
If you are seeing this, then I just want to say thank you for being there for me all these years.
What I love. I am a voice for those who are voiceless.
Oren was the first female musician by the New York Philharmonic.
There's only one thing that I feel you should know.
You are okay. You are okay.
Great.
A lot of great movies. Yeah. Lots of great movies.
Thank you for including Kobe.
Wasn't that a great one? Yeah. There's so many good ones. And in fact, some of the movies, the funny thing is you of course pick up favorites like Kobe. Probably my very favorite one was winner in 2005. 2005 was a Martin McDonagh film. And when you see that movie, you realize, oh my goodness, this guy has something special.
Yeah.
And it was called Six Shooter. A cow exploded in the middle of it. It was amazing. And every short, every year or every few years, there are some that are just like so stand out, so crazy that Taika Waititi did one that didn't get nominated back in 2005 or 2006, but it was beautiful. And all of us said, wow, this guy's an amazing filmmaker. We released it on ShortsTV. It didn't get nominated, but we released it on ShortsTV. He'd already been nominated for another film, but a couple of years before, but you can see in these shorts somebody that's a special filmmaker.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's in the way in the studio system, you would often start someone making two reelers, just to, whether it was a director or whatever, and and they would work on those, cut their teeth, experiment with techniques and styles, and
Probably the biggest supporter that we had at the beginning that really helped us get the Oscar shorts into theaters and off the ground was a guy named John Lasseter. John Lasseter, as you know, was Mr. Disney, and he had made a short at Pixar called Tin Toy.
Yeah.
And so he kind of ran interference for us within the Academy, encouraged Disney to participate and all the big chains to participate, big studios. And because, none of them know us and they don't want us to take their IP and run off with it or do something crazy. And he really got behind us and said, this has to happen. Yeah. And he makes everybody who directs one of his features, live action or animated, he's now, he's not at Disney Pixar anymore. He's at, what's the Ellison Skydance?
Yeah, Skydance. Yeah, that's okay.
He makes them all direct a short. And he will tell you that if somebody can deliver it in a short, it's the only way you can tell if they can deliver it in a feature.
It's so hard to do it with less. I mean, when you have a couple of hours to kind of, get there, but when you only have 10 or 12 minutes, you have to stick the landing. And when the short is over, whether it worked or not. I mean,
exactly.
It's just instantaneous, and it is a definer of one's skill and how sharp one's knife is, and it's such a cool thing that he does that, because it's sort of it's a rite of passage, and it should be, because it really is a definition of one's skills as a filmmaker.
Absolutely, it's absolutely and especially in animations, when you're spending $100 million on somebody to direct it, how can you not make them do something? You see some of these other films and you hear the horror stories of one director and then they change to another. This is animations. They change directors and everything. And you realize if they just made them make shorts, probably they would have saved $50 million. Right?
Yeah.
It's a good, good thing.
I mean, you obviously are very passionate about shorts, and you've launched this network, ShortsTV, and this has clearly been a passion of yours in terms of kind of really making sure that people find shorts and discover the joy of it.
Yes, we love it. I'm an astronautical engineer. I'm probably the only astronautical engineer in the Academy of Motion Pictures.
Wow.
But I love shorts. I just thought shorts were fantastic. So I left investment banking, and started a company just doing shorts because I really loved them. It was kind of a crazy idea, but I just think they're very cool. I've never made features. I never tried, never want to. I've just produced shorts and just done short. I think it's a great art form, and I'm very pleased to be part of it.
Well, look, as a programmer and operator of movie theaters, I just want to thank you for really, doing what you do, getting this program together. And I know it's a lot of work, but over the years, it has become a beloved part of the calendar. People really do look forward to it. It gets people into the theaters, which is, of course, something we're still fighting to do, and it provides them with a terrific experience seeing these movies. So thank you. And
thank you very much.
So this year, the Oscar Shorts program will be starting on February 14th. In theaters around the country. They look for the animated shorts, look for the live action shorts, and where you can find them, look for the documentary shorts. If you don't see the documentary shorts playing at your local theater, talk to the operator and tell them to
Speak
at least
up.
we got to get at least some shows of all three programs here, people.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I guess you can get information where at
ShortsTV / the Oscar Shorts. It'll very soon. You can go in and type in your zip code. Find the Oscar Shorts theater closest to you. It's very, very super easy.
Yeah. Hey, Carter, thank you for what you do. I mean, as a filmmaker and as someone who loves these films as well, thank you for making this possible and doing all the heavy lifting to kind of coordinate it and bring it home, as it were. Yeah, so really grateful for what you've done.
Thank you, Ref.
And all of you out there who are watching, please, thank you for coming and sharing some time with us inside the Arthouse. Please, if you're not already a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. We're growing day by day and getting more people to watch, so we appreciate all your support.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Carter.
Thank you, Carter.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Our show was produced by Raphael Sparge with on-site producer Norrin Dickerson. Supervising producers are Miles McCreary and Thomas Cassetta. Our show was edited by Gabriel Lemley and mixed by Thomas Cassetta. Our musical theme was composed by Isabel Engman and Gerardo Garcia Jr. Marketing by Gabriel Lemley. Show graphics by Jenna DeAngelis and show open edited by Rick Pratt. Filmed at the historic Laemmle Royal Theater in Los Angeles, California. See you next time on Inside the Arthouse. If you like today's show, please consider subscribing to our channel to hear more on Inside the Arthouse.